Welcome once again to Gilbert and Sullivan Radio Theater. This is your host, Jerry Tracy, inviting you to join us as we survey all 14 of the comic opera masterpieces of Gilbert and Sullivan in chronological order. Our musical highlights are drawn from the vast radio theater collection, and our dialogue excerpts feature our own beloved KBCS players. The comedian Ludwig has challenged the miserable Grand Duke Rudolph to a statutory duel in episode 3 of The Grand Duke. Oh dear. To make a long story short...
Fine, here we go again. My big speech. Poof, gone.
With the populace of Fennig-Hafenig all in attendance,
What's this all about?
Ludwig and the Grand Duke prepare to draw cards in their statutory duel. The Grand Duke, cheating of course, draws a king. But Ludwig draws...
Yes, what is it? An ace! An ace! Now I am the Grand Duke!
And good riddance to that twape, Rudolph.
Who said that? I heard that. Remember, when the act expires tomorrow, I will return to life and to the throne. And that's all happening tomorrow. And woe to he...
Ha! He got you.
Or she...
Oh.
who has spoken these treasonous words.
But Ludwig has other ideas.
I do? I do!
He consults with the attorney.
I think there's something we can do about this. Good. I do. Rudolph, you poor unfortunate ghost. I'm afraid you won't be coming back tomorrow or anytime soon. That is...
What are you talking about?
Ahem. As my first official act as your new Grand Duke, I hereby revive the statutory duel law for another 100 years.
Well done. Wait a minute, another 100 years, but that means...
It means goodbye, Ludwig. Please escort that ghost from the ducal presence and give him his prize, please. Thank you very much.
Ghost, wait, I will return. I'll make a ghost of all of you, you little pipsqueak.
Not likely. Goodbye.
And just as little Lisa prepares to settle down to a quiet, snuggly life as Grand Duchess with her adored Grand Duke Ludwig,
Oh, my darling.
Darling.
Julia points out that...
I can take it from here if you don't
not
mind.
at all.
Under the terms of my contract, I am to play all leading ladies. Is this not true, Herr Lawyer Person?
Absolutely, quite true.
Thank you. Including the part of the Grand Duchess. Thank you very much. What?
What?
Is this not true also, attorney fellow over there?
Right again, that's quite true. Oh, no.
Darling.
Oh, my dear. I'm so sorry.
That's quite enough of that. You're my Grand Duke now, you poky little Liebchen.
Oh, I so love a manly...
Ludwig.
Goodbye. I'm afraid so, darling Lisa.
Oh, and as the broken-hearted little Lisa exits, Ludwig
Oh, well.
prepares to make the most of circumstances.
Depressing topics we'll not touch upon.
Our Act 2 curtain rises the next morning. It is the entrance hall of the Grand Ducal Palace. There enters a procession of the members of the theatrical company, who are now dressed in the costumes of Troilus and Cressida. They are carrying garlands, playing on pipes, cithara, and cymbals, and heralding the return of Ludwig and Julia from the marriage ceremony, which has just taken place. And as Lisa bids a fond farewell to Grand Duke Ludwig,
Darling.
Dear.
the chorus exits, leaving the new Grand Ducal couple, Julia and Ludwig, alone.
And now that everybody has gone and we're happily and comfortably married, I want to have a few words with my newborn husband.
Yes, I expect you'll often have a few words with your newborn husband. Well, what is it?
Why, I've been thinking that as you and I have to play our parts for life, it is most essential that we should come to a definite understanding as to how they shall be rendered.
Oh?
Now, I've been considering how I should make the most of the Grand Duchess.
Have you? Well, if you'll take my advice, you'll make a very fine part of it.
Oh, that's quite my idea.
I shouldn't make it one of your hoity-toity vixenous viragos.
You think not?
Oh, I'm quite clear about that. I should make her a tender, gentle, submissive, affectionate, but not too affectionate, child wife, timidly anxious to coil herself into her husband's heart, but kept in check by an awestruck reverence for his exalted intellectual qualities and his majestic personal appearance.
That is your idea of a good part?
Yes, a wife who regards her husband's slightest wish as an inflexible law, and who ventures but rarely into his august presence unless, which would happen seldom, he should summon her to appear before him, a crushed, despairing violet whose blighted existence would culminate all too soon in a lonely and pathetic death scene. A fine part, my dear, really.
Yes, there's a good deal to be said for your view of it. Now, there are some actresses who would fit like a glove.
I wish I'd married one of them.
But, you see, I must consider my temperament.
Oh, yes, that's all.
For instance, my temperament
Yeah, we got
would
it.
demand some strong scenes of justifiable jealousy.
Oh, there's no difficulty about that. You shall have them.
With a lovely but detested rival,
Oh, I'll provide the rival.
whom I should stab.
Oh, I shouldn't stab her. Stop it. I shouldn't stab her. It's been done to death. I should treat her with a silent and contemptuous disdain and delicately withdraw from a position which, to one of your sensitive nature, would be absolutely untenable. Dear me, I can see you delicately withdrawing up, center, and off.
Can you?
Yes, it's a fine situation, and you're in your hands full of quiet pathos.
I submit to you my notion of a first-rate part.
Well, let us see your notion of a first-rate part.
Very well. I have a rival. Frenzy thrilled, I find you both together.
Good.
My heart stands still with horror, chilled.
Oh, that's good.
Hard as a millstone never. Then, softly, slyly, snaily, snaky, crawly, creepy, crawly, quacky, I track her on her homeward way,
A bit floored, but
as
work with it.
panther tracks her fated prey. I fly at her soft white throat, the lily-white laughing lava. On her agonized gaze, I gloat, with the glee of a dancing demon. My rival she, I have no doubt of her, so I hold on till the breath is out of her. Till the breath is out of her.
But this is a comedy.
Shut up, there's more. And then, remorse. Remorse, a cold, unpleasant cause avant.
We've gone from Freud to Shakespeare.
That lifeless form I gaze upon, that face still warm, but weirdly vain. Those eyes of glass I contemplate, and then, alas, too late. I find she is...
Your sister!
No, your aunt.
My aunt!
I killed the auntie.
Kill the auntie!
Shut up, it's my light.
Yes, of course.
Remorse. Then mad with fancies wild. Chemical. Now, not that chemical. Now sorrowful, silent, sad. Now hullabaloo, hysterical. Shut up.
Oh, sorry.
But whether I am sad or whether I am glad, mad.
Oh, it's a mad world, my God.
Now, this calls for the resources of a high-class art and certifies my notion of a first-rate part.
And with that observation, Julia exits, and not a moment too soon. Then all the chorus enter, hurriedly and in great excitement. They explain to Ludwig that the Baroness von Krakenfeld has arrived with marriage in her eye.
What?
You know who I am. I don't your countenance, I can't fix, my dear. This proves I'm not a sham. It won't, it only says Kragan pen 6, my dear. Express your grief, profound. I shan't.
But this is most unexpected. He was well enough at 11:45 yesterday.
Yes, he died at 11:30.
Bless me, how very sudden.
It was sudden, yes.
But what in the world am I to do? I was to have been married to him today. Is this court mourning or a fancy ball?
Well, it's a delicate combination of both effects. It is intended to express inconsolable grief for the decease of the late Duke and ebullient joy at the accession of his successor. I am his successor. Permit me to present you to my Grand Duchess, Julia.
Your Grand Duchess? Oh, Your Highness.
She curtsies profoundly.
Old frump.
A recent creation, probably.
We were married only half an hour ago.
Exactly. I thought she seemed new to the position.
Ma'am, I don't know who you are, but I flatter myself I can do justice to any part on the very shortest notice.
My dear, under the circumstances you are doing admirably, and you'll improve with practice. It's so difficult to be a lady when one isn't born to it.
Am I to stand this? Am I not to be allowed to pull her to pieces?
No, it isn't Greek. Be a violet, I beg.
And now tell me all about this distressing circumstance. How did the Grand Duke die?
He perished nobly in a statutory duel.
In a statutory duel? But that's only a civil death. And the act expires tonight, and then he will come back to life again.
Well, no. Anxious to inaugurate my reign by conferring some inestimable boon upon my people, I signalized this occasion by reviving the law for another 100 years.
For another
We've been
100
booned.
years? Then set the merry joy bells ringing, that festive epithalamia resound through these ancient halls. Cut the satisfying sandwich, broach the exhilarating marsala, and let us rejoice today if we have never rejoiced again.
But I don't think I quite understand. We have already rejoiced a great deal.
Happy man, you little reck of the extent of the good things you are in for.
I don't.
When you killed Rudolph,
Yes.
you adopted all his overwhelming responsibilities.
Yes, I did. I know.
Know then that I, Caroline von Krakenfeld,
Krakenfeld.
am the most overwhelming of them all.
But you are, but God. But stop. I've just been married to somebody else.
Yes, ma'am. To somebody else, ma'am. Do you understand, ma'am? To somebody else.
Do keep this young woman quiet. She fidgets me.
Fidgets you?
A violet, a crushed, despairing violet.
Do you suppose I intend to give up a magnificent part without a struggle?
My good girl, she has the law on her side. Let us both bear this calamity with resignation. If you must struggle, go away and struggle in the seclusion of your dressing room.
Rip her apart.
Now away to the wedding we go, so then summon the charioteers. No kind of reluctance we show to
All dance off to their wedding except Julia, who sings of her distress in this truly beautiful aria for soprano, the very last penned by Gilbert and Sullivan. I say, the very last penned by Gilbert and Sullivan. Penny, did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard.
Well,
Well, I never really liked it.
oh well, for better or worse, here it is.
So ends my dream. So fades my vision fair of the dream, distraction and despair. My cherished dreams, the dew Tomorrow be kind, tomorrow to me, with loyalty blind and body to thee. Tomorrow be kind, tomorrow to me, with loyalty blind, my body to thee. If today is a day of illusion and sorrow, then fear tomorrow. God save you tomorrow, your servant 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 tomorrow. Your servant.
And that voice, incidentally, was not the voice of Meredith Hunt, sad to confess, but rather Beverly Martin Williams with the Seattle Gilbert and Sullivan Society in 1982 recording, which I recommend to all of you, and which we have used with the kind permission of Mr. Gordon Gutteridge. Enter Ernest, who is finding that being a ghost, even a civil ghost, is tedious, to say the least.
It's of no use. I can't wait any longer. At any risk, I must gratify my urgent desire to know what is going on. Why, what's that? Surely I see a wedding procession winding down the hill. That's Ludwig's doing. I see how it is. He found the time hang heavy on his hands and is amusing himself by getting married to Lisa. No, it can't be Lisa, for here she is.
I really cannot stand seeing my Ludwig married twice in one day to somebody else.
Lisa! Come here, don't be a little fool, I want you.
Lisa suddenly turns and bolts off.
Why, what's the matter with that little donkey? One would think she'd saw a ghost.
But if he's not marrying Lisa, whom is he marrying?
Julia! I see it all. The scoundrel! He had to adopt all of my responsibilities, and he's shabbily taken advantage of the situation to marry the girl I'm engaged to. But no, it can't be Julia, for here she is.
I've made up my mind. I won't stand it. I'll send in my notice at once.
Oh, Julia, what a relief.
Julia gazes at him as if transfixed.
Then you've not married Ludwig. You're still true to me.
Julia turns and bolts in grotesque horror. Ernest follows and stops her.
Don't run away. Listen to me. Are you all crazy?
What would you with me, Spectre? Oh, ain't his eyes sepulchral, and ain't his voice hollow?
My voice?
What are you doing out of your tomb at this time of day? Apparition?
I do wish I could make you girls understand I'm only technically dead and that physically I'm as much alive as I ever was in my life.
Oh, but it's an awful thing to be haunted by a technical boogie.
You won't be haunted much longer. The law must be on its last legs, and in a few hours I shall come to life again, resume all my social and civil functions, and claim my darling as my blushing bride.
Oh, then you haven't heard?
My love, I've heard nothing. How could I? There are no daily papers where I come from.
Why, Ludwig challenged Rudolph and won. And now he's the Grand Duke, and he's revived the law for another century.
What? But you're not serious. You're only joking.
My good sir, I am a light-hearted girl, but I don't chafe boogies.
Well, it's the meanest dodge I ever heard of.
Shabby chick, I call it.
And defy the law and marry me now. Oh, we will fly to your native land, and I'll play broken English in London as you play broken German here.
No, these legal technicalities cannot be defied. Situated as you are, you have no power to make me your wife. At best, you could only make me your widow.
Oh, then be my widow, my little dainty, winsome widow.
That's winning Vincent widow.
Yes, I meant to say that. Thank you.
Now, what would be the good of that? Why, you goose, I shall marry again within a month.
As the unhappy couple exit, the long-awaited Prince of Monte Carlo arrives with his beautiful daughter and ragtag hangers-on. The careful listener will recall that the princess was betrothed to Grand Duke Rudolph on condition that she marry him before her 18th birthday. Let's listen in as they discuss their plans.
Well, my dear, here we are at last, just in time to compel Duke Rudolph to fulfill the terms of his marriage contract. Another hour, and we should have been too late.
Yes, Papa, and if you hadn't fortunately discovered a means of making an income by honest industry, we should have never got here at all.
Very true. Confined for the last 2 years within the precincts of my palace by an obdurate bootmaker who held a warrant for my arrest, I devoted my enforced leisure to a study of the doctrine of chances, mainly with the view of ascertaining whether there was the remotest chance of my ever going out for a walk again. And this led to the discovery of a singularly fascinating little round game which I have called roulette.
Oh, Daddy, you're so wonderful. Oh.
And by which, in one sitting, I won no less than 5,000 francs. My first act was to pay my bootmaker.
Well, we very much thank you for joining us for this episode of The Grand Duke, or The Statutory Duel. Our thanks as well to the very talented KBCS players. And for this production of The Grand Duke, we feature Jeff Hogan as Grand Duke Rudolph, Jerry Tracy as Ernest Dimkopf, John Moore as Ludwig, John Price as the lawyer Dr. Tannhauser, Dan Reinking as the Prince of Monte Carlo, Deanne Odom as the Princess of Monte Carlo, Penny Vrikopoulos as the Baroness von Krakenfeld. As Julia Jellicoe, we heard Meredith Hunt, and as Lisa, Deanne Odom. This is your host, Jerry Tracy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, John Moore. And inviting you to join us next time.